What's up YouTube, my name is Gabriel King. Today we're doing a tutorial on how to edit like Sam Kolder. A lot of you know about his older kind of edits, same with like Taylor cut films where they use a lot of like the M31 type looking stuff with the whole orange and teal look. But that's not really the case anymore. If you look through here, through like Sam Kolders' Instagram, you see he actually has more of a, I mean, it's still kind of the orange and teal look, but it's more of a magenta, less or more saturated look. Right here we got a lot of orange in the mids and highs, a lot of blues in the shadows, but we also have this kind of magenta-ish look, you know, it's not really on the side of green with the tint. So some of them are more saturated blues, some of them have less. Like you can see right here, you see kind of the magenta and the oranges. So yeah, that's what we're kind of trying to do today. We're going to take this picture and turn it into this picture. So as you can see, it kind of has that magenta orangish look. We're actually going to bring in some of the blue just because in some of his pictures the water is still pretty saturated. And then as you can see in his videos, it's kind of the same edit now too, where it has that like really orange and less or more saturated blues. Some pictures are more saturated than others, but you get the whole picture. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so what I did first was I changed the white balance to 4:8 to 5, I believe, and then I just changed the tint to 10. It looks a little bit more green, but we're actually just going to change a lot of this. Exposure, I just brought up the exposure just a tad. I didn't do anything with the contrast. Brought up the highlights a little bit. I brought up the shadows a lot just to really get that detail in there where I got to. So I brought up the whites just because I brought up the highlights and the whites just because they're kind of dark before. So I just wanted them to kind of pop a little bit more. If you look at the histogram, you'll see that there's not very much whites and highlights. I mean, they're kind of lower. They could be a little bit higher, but I don't want it to clip. You go too high and it'll start clipping. It's already kind of clipping a little bit here on the shoelace. You don't really want that, but for this, I'm just going to keep it right around there. Okay, so now I brought the clarity up, actually all the way. I know it kind of looks bad right now, but it will look better. So I brought the vibrance up 75, and then because I brought the vibrance up, I'm going to bring down the saturation, and that just kind of gives me this picture right here. A little bit less saturated look, I think is pretty good. So right here, I went to the reds. I actually just put I brought up the highlights a little bit, and then just bring down these curves a little bit. And then I think I brought that curve up just a tad. I just added some reds in there just to kind of help with that magenta look. HSL, and I don't think I did anything like a better color skin. I moved the yellows over -26. I moved the greens up, I believe it was 67, and I brought the saturation on the skin tones up, and that makes like a huge difference. As you can see, the skin looks pretty good, nice and warm. And then I brought down the blues -54. So that way it had like that kind of desaturated. I mean, he likes to do this desaturated but also saturated pictures, so it's just kind of like all preference on what you like, because you know, this stuff is subjective. It doesn't really matter. It's just kind of up to you and how you like it. Get some more TET break. So yellows, we're gonna go to -46. and that just darkens this all a little bit. We're gonna go to 49 over here on the greens, just kind of lighten those greens up a little bit, as you can see right here. And then for the blues, we're gonna bring them way down, so this goes to -85, and then blues are going to -52. Okay, so that's all we did for HSL. So let's see before and after. As you can see, it looks way better, and with this luminance we brought down, so that way it's not so bright, and those oranges. Way better picture already. Okay, so split toning. So this always move over, and I bring this to around there. It's like really purple, and then I just start bringing this in. As you can see, it's already kind of got this like purplish tint to it, which is what we want. Before, after, before, after. I think the exact setting I set it to was, oh, I actually moved this all the way over, and then 236 and 47. And just know that this isn't going to be exactly the same for all your pictures. This just so happens to be for this picture. Another thing that makes like a huge difference in these type of pictures is sunset, or if you're shooting during the day. During the day might not come out as good as this. You want to usually shoot these photos around prime time, which is when the sun's starting to set or go down, which is the best for lighting and all that. You get these contrast, and the colors are just really nice. There's a lot of colors in there and stuff like that. And as you can see, a lot of these are actually shot around prime time. You can see the sun going down, and it just looks the best for this type of stuff. So I always bring the sharpen down. Noise reduction, I'm actually going to bring this up to 30, and then I bring the contrast up a little bit, just so that it just adds a little bit more contrast, but it still makes it nice and soft. And the color, mine is, I usually just bring this up. That just takes away a lot of like the chroma. So if you look right here, you could see a lot of this like colored noise in here, and I don't like that, and it doesn't look professional, and most would say that it doesn't look professional as well. So I just kind of take that out of there, and it looks nice and smooth. Looks good. And I don't do anything on lens correction or the transform. We're gonna go to effects. This, I think I just brought it down like -2. It was just like really subtle. Yeah, that's like all I did for right there. And then the camera calibration. Okay, this is where a lot of everything happens. You've probably seen a million YouTube videos where they do a lot of this stuff, but like this is how they get a lot of the orange and teal look, by just bringing this over and bringing this over, and boom, it's orange and teal. And that's like a super easy way to do it, but that's not exactly I mean, we're doing something like that, but not to that extreme. So I'm bringing that over to 53. I'm gonna move this green primary 32, and that just kind of is going to add a little bit more of the magenta look into this. 25. So I'm gonna saturate that up a little bit, and then we're going to go -71. And then we're going to bring this saturation down. So as you can see, before the way it looked, and then after, it looks way more Sam Kolder. You know, like this is something you'd see on his Instagram with this color. It has the nice blue and magenta-ish look, but the blues aren't really that saturated. What you can do, I like to do, is you can actually just like go around here, paint around. This stuff can get desaturated a little bit, just because I think that it would bring more attention to me, the subject. So bring that, and then we can actually just bring that down a little bit. Not a lot, just so that you know, it just focuses more right here, but you have this in the background going on as well. And then what I'm actually going to do is, I see in a lot of his photos, the blue is actually more saturated in like a lot of, or a couple of his pictures. You could do this if you want, but I'm just gonna do it just because. I'm gonna paint through here. That was probably a bad paint job, just for sake of tutorial, whatever. So bring this over a little bit, make this a little bit more blue. Ooh, that looks awful actually. Hold on, I'm gonna repaint this. Alright, that's a little better, whatever. I don't really care that much. So what I did over here was I brought this one up to 1093 and I brought this back to -35. Is that all I did? Yeah. And I mean, you can get like way closer in there, and really if you press space you can move it around while you're in there. What I would do personally is I'd just get like really far in here and just kind of get all this, all the insides. Yeah, and so then you have a little bit more saturated look. You could do saturated a little bit, whatever. But I mean, it's just up to you if you want to do something like that or not. And then one last thing is we're gonna go into Photoshop. So right click, edit, Adobe Photoshop, and we're just gonna edit it a little bit in here. So just to make it a little bit more cool, not just look like everything's just stopped because I shot this at 1/800th of a second, so everything's just kind of stopped. You see the train moving a little bit, or maybe it's just the blur from the aperture, but we're gonna make this train just kind of look like it's moving a little bit. So I'm just gonna call this train blur. So I'm just gonna go through here, hold down this guy, go to this lasso tool. You're just gonna go through here until you get to the end. Perfect. And I mean, this isn't necessary, this is just me going off. You could be totally fine just finishing that up in Lightroom and exporting it to JPEG and uploading it wherever you need to, but I'm just doing this just because I think it looks better. So if you have like something moving, you can make it move a little bit more, make it look like there's more action going on in the shot. So if you select that, select modify feather. So I'm gonna feather this like 100 pixels, and then I'm going to go up to filter, blur, motion blur. And I'm gonna motion blur it that way just because that's the way that the train is moving. And I think I'm gonna, yeah, I think I'll keep it right around there. I think it looks pretty good. And then Command D to let go, Command D to get out of the whole dancing ants or moving ants, whatever you want to call them. So that way that's moving. So now you got a little bit more action in the shot. So you press Command Option Shift N, you'll get a new layer. It might be different on Windows. I believe it's Control Shift. I don't even remember. Well, oh yeah, Control Alt Shift N, I think, is for Windows. I'm not really sure though. I just use Mac for editing. More tea. Funny story, I actually brewed this tea, and I always brew my tea for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But I came upstairs to just finish getting ready to make this video, and I accidentally left it on for like 10 minutes. And surprisingly, it's not like gross like I thought it was gonna be. Like, it still tastes like normal. I mean, it's green tea, so I don't know if that gets really like disgusting, but tastes fine. Alright, back to tutorial. If we go to Command Alt Shift, was it E? Yeah, then that actually makes whatever was under this layer just become like the flattened image. Alright, so we're gonna go to layer adjustments, we're gonna go to overlay and filter, other, high pass. And what this does is this actually just kind of sharpens it through the highs only. If you zoom out, you can see wherever there are highs, it's getting sharpened. So if you go up to 10, if you go up like way up there, it just gets like way too, look at this, it just looks so bad. So I usually just do it like 2 or 4 or 5 depending on the image. Let's just go 4, enter, and I think that's looking pretty good. Zooming in on my leg, but I mean it's all pretty sharp. And then Command S, so we'll bring it back into Lightroom. So you can see down here it's saving. There we go, and as you can see we have a super sharp image that looks really nice, and you have a little bit of action going on here, you have kind of the same color going on, and yeah, there you go. Alright guys, thanks for watching this tutorial. Hopefully it really helped when it comes to your old color grading stuff. I would just say, if you do use this, maybe just use it for like a couple pictures or something, but make your own style out of it, hopefully. Just because so many people are already copying Sam Kolder and Taylor cut films, and I mean I've even done it myself. So just know that this is kind of their style. It's also kind of like all over the internet, especially with like the M31 LUT, and I think that's like why Sam Kolder kind of changed his look a little bit. So just know that this is for your own learning experience, but hopefully you just don't use this on all your pictures and videos in the future. Alright, well thanks for watching guys. My name is Gabriel King. Hopefully you stick around, subscribe, like, throw a like down there if you like this video. It'll help me want to make more videos as I'm kind of busy all the time, but they're kind of fun. Alright, thanks guys, see you later.